Hi, and this is going to be a wonderful, really wonderful video. And why it is that? Because it's a news. First and foremost, we are going to read international news, which is going to be difficult. But in today's morning, when I am actually reading it, and it gives really sense to me, for 10 minutes, I'm going to read these articles. First is that international news, as far as I am concerned, and the first and most important news for today, and I am going to take the headlines first, that you know Biden holds talks with Putin, warns against the Ukraine invasion. So US vows sanctions against Moscow, increased military support for Eastern Europe. uh, okay. Joe Biden, right, speaking with Vladimir Putin on screen from the White House on December 7th. Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, um, Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, very good. Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin had 2 hour video summit Tuesday in which the US president said he would warn of physical sanctions and increase military support. Hmm. Increased military support for Eastern Europe for if Russia invades Ukraine. Greetings, Mr. President. Mr. Putin said in a brief video clip released by the Kremlin. Mr. Biden said it was good to see his Russian counterpart, adding that he hoped their next session would be in person. Despite the friendly opening scene, the summit lasting just over 2 hours was steeped in tension. Russia denies planning to invade Ukraine, but with the satellite pictures showing massive troops concentrations on the border, fears are growing of war in Europe. The United States says it doesn't know for sure what Russia intends to do in Ukraine, but is learned at the deployment of some 1 lakh battle ready Russian troops to the border. Moscow calls invasion talk hysteria. Instead, Mr. Putin intends to tell Mr. Biden he sees Ukraine growing alliance with Western nations. Okay, very good. Ukraine growing alliance with Western nations as threat to Russian security, even though Ukraine is nowhere near being able to join the US-led military alliance. Mr. Putin wants a legal guarantee this will never happen. Russia has never planned to attack anyone. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Tuesday, but we have our own red lines, real cost. The White House says Mr. Biden will instead lay out a range of economic sanctions that will impose real cost ahead of the summit. The Biden administration has also stressed that its posture has been worked out in unison with European partners. Mr. Putin was also planning to reach out to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky after his virtual summit. The United States says it has options sort of military confrontation to pressure Mr. Putin. US will pay the price for Olympics diplomatic boycott. The move is born out of ideological prejudice, says China. China warned on Tuesday the United States would pay the price for a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympic or human rights concern. The move drew fiery opposition from Beijing, which threatened unspecified countermeasures, warning the US would pay the price for its wrongdoing. Stay tuned. Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Zhao Lijian told reporters at a daily press briefing the US attempt to interfere with the Beijing Winter Olympics, but out of ideological prejudice based on lies and rumors will only expose sinister intentions. Mr. Zhao said the Winter Olympics are not a stage for political shows and political manipulation. He added, accusing the US of actions that interfere in and undermine the Beijing Winter Olympics. Reaction worked. But Washington's move was broadly welcomed by rights groups and politicians in the US. The International Olympic Committee called it a purely political decision for each government, which the OIC, in its political neutrality, fully respects. Our position is that the Olympic Games should be free of politics, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters, but said it was positive that participants were not impacted by the decision. What is that? UAE moves to 4.5 a day, 4.5-day week, Saturday, Sunday, and weekend. Government employees would work a half day on Friday. The United Arab Emirates said on Tuesday its official work week will move to Monday to Friday, a significant change that brings the Islamic nation home to major financial institutions in line with Western schedules. The decision, which is to take effect next month, make the Gulf Arab Federation one of the few countries in West Asia to operate on Western hours instead of on Sunday through Thursday week. Lebanon and Turkey also follow a Monday to Friday work week. The long rumored shift comes as the UAE, home to the coastal emirates of Dubai and Abu Dhabi, seeks to bolster its business and tourist appeal while emerging from crisis of the coronavirus pandemic and facing the stiffer regional competition, particularly with Saudi Arabia. Closure assignment alignment. Skyscraper-studded Dubai has attracted a variety of Western multinational firms over the years. The new working week will also bring the UAE's financial sector into closer alignment with global real-time trading and communications-based transactions. The government statement said, adding that the new schedule aims to boost not only trading opportunities but also add to the flexible, secure, and enjoyable lifestyle the Emirates offers its citizens and residents. Government employees work a off day on Friday, the traditional Muslim holiday, and then take Saturday and Sunday off, the announcement said. School condemns threat to Ukraine, calls it unacceptable. Pipeline to transport gas from Russia yet to get approval. Germany's Chancellor in waiting Olaf Scholz expressed concern on Tuesday about Russian troops movements on the Ukraine border and said any attempts to cross the frontier would be unacceptable. It is very, very important that no one rolls through the history books to draw new borders. Mr. Scholz said it at a news conference after signing a three-party coalition agreement. It must be quite clear that it would be an unacceptable situation if there was a threat to Ukraine, Mr. Scholz said, while stressing that borders could not be violated. Olaf Scholz, a social democrat, is due to take office on coming Wednesday after being elected by the Bundestag lower house of parliament. Incoming Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck, who is a co-leader of the Greens, said the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is to transport gas from Russia to Europe bypassing Ukraine, had not yet received approval and political discussions had to continue. The Greens have traditionally taken a tougher line with Russia as well as with China. Israel strike targets Iran weapons in Syria port. Syrian minister was on visit to Tehran. An Israel airstrike hit a shipment of Iranian weapons in the Syrian port of Latakia in Tuesday, in the first such attack on the key facility, a war monitor said. The Israelis said directly targeted an Iranian weapons shipment in the container yard. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the observatory, a UK-based organization with a wide network of sources on the ground across Syria, said the raid triggered a series of explosions. It exported huge material losses, but added there were no immediate reports of casualties. Photos and footage published by Sana showed a fire in the yard, but state television said later that firefighters had brought the blaze under control. Israel rarely comments on the airstrikes it carries out in Syria, but has said repeatedly it will not allow its fall Iran to extend its footprint in Syria. Tuesday's strike came as the Syrian Foreign Minister Faisal Makr wrapped up a visit to Tehran, where he met with top officials to discuss deepening ties. Billionaires thrived during pandemic. The share of global wealth of the world's richest people soared at a record pace during the COVID pandemic. A report on inequality showed on Tuesday. Since 1995, the slice held by billionaires has risen from 1% to 3% according to the World Inequality Report. This increase was exacerbated during the COVID pandemic. In fact, 2020 marked the steepest increase in global billionaires' share of wealth on record, the document said. The club of the richest 1% has taken more than a third of all additional wealth accumulated since 1995, while the bottom 50% captured just 2%. After more than 18 months of COVID-19, the world is even more polarized. Lucas Chancellor, co-director of the World Inequality Lab at the Paris School of economics said while the wealth of billionaires rose by more than $4 trillion, 100 million more people joined the ranks of extreme poverty, Mr. Chancellor said. Khashoggi murder suspected held. The French police on Tuesday arrested a suspected member of his squad that murdered Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018 at the kingdom's consulate in Istanbul, and who is wanted to Turkey to face justice over the killing. The Khalid Al-Toibi, 33, was detained by border police on the basis of an arrest warrant issued by Turkey as he was about to board a flight to Riyadh from Paris. Charles J. Guller's airport judicial and airport sources said he's due to appear before prosecutors on Wednesday. Is one of 26 Saudis charged on absentia by Turkey over the killing in a trial that got underway in October 2020. If convicted, he could face life imprisonment. Saudi Arabia, Oman signed deals worth $30 billion. Saudi Arabia signed deals with Oman valued at $30 billion as Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman began a tour of Gulf countries, including former rival Qatar. Saudi and Oman, Omani company, signed 13 memoranda of understanding. The official Saudi press agency reported the MOU ranged from cooperation in the energy and tourism to finance and technology. So we'll go for a 7th page. We'll see the editorial page and then we'll stop it and get to something else. Mediation bill not getting the act together, being free of old waste. Okay, you will go for this, being free of old waste. The Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 guidelines have an important dimension focused on solid waste management. The recently released Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 guidelines continue to take forward the aims of the Swachh Bharat Mission launched in 2014, but add an important dimension focused on solid waste management. This goes beyond the efficient collection and transportation of waste and brings focus on processing all types of waste like plastic, construction and demolition waste, as well as providing budgetary support for remediating the old waste disposed in all dump sites across 4,372 cities in India before March 2023. Its components include source segregation, door-to-door collection of waste, separate transportation of different types of waste, processing of wet waste, dry waste, and construction and demolition waste. Urban local bodies in several states had prepared detailed project reports for setting up waste processing systems for wet and dry waste as part of SBM, which were approved, but the process of setting up these facilities was delayed due to lack of funding and techno-process knowledge and delayed DPR approvals. This resulted in unprecedented waste being dumped in several sites, which needs to be processed through bioremediation before space can be created for new waste processing plants. Bioremediation of old waste is the process of dismantling old waste heaps, sieving the material to recover bioearth, enriched soil, and refuse-derived fuel, which can be used as heating material in cement kilns. As per the SBM 2.0 guidelines, the total quantity of waste generated by urban areas in India is about 1.32 lakh tons daily. This adds up to 4.8 crore tons per annum. Of this, only about 25% is being processed. The rest is disposed of in landfills every year. Given that the waste dump sites have been operational since the early 2000s, more than 72 crore tons of waste need to be processed. In Karnataka, all the 200 plus municipalities have planned to take up bioremediation over the last 2 years, but the project did not kick off due to lack of funds. This is where SBM 2.0 could be an important intervention. Funding from SBM 2.0, the total funding dedicated for implementation of SBM 2.0 is 1.41 lakh crores, of which about 39,837 crore rupees is set aside for solid waste management. This mission commits to providing financial assistance to set up fresh waste processing facilities and bioremediation projects across all the ULBs. Financial assistance is to set up construction and demolition waste processing facilities is limited to a chosen 154 large cities such as Bengaluru, Mysore, Devanagari, Hubli, Kalaburgi, which have population of over 5 lakh and the financial assistance committed by the mission varies by state. The comments made by Government of India for solid waste management projects are as follows: 90% for ULBs in the northeastern and Himalayan states, 100% for ULBs in union territories without legislature, 80% for ULBs in union territories with legislature, 25% for other ULBs with more than 10 lakh population, 33% for other ULBs with more than 1 lakh but less than 10 lakh population, 50% for ULBs with less than 1 lakh population. The remaining project cost will be paid from 15 Finance Commission grants. SBM was providing 35% funding from GOI respective of the population size of cities. About 23.3% of the project cost was funded by the state governments, and the remaining 41.6% was to be funded by the ULBs. The funding was provided to buy efficient vehicles for door-to-door collection and transportation of waste, provide bins for segregation of waste at source, and set up waste processing facilities. SBM 2.0 allocates funding only to set up waste processing facilities, requests for buying vehicles for collection of waste, issuing bins for source segregation, or modernizing the collection and transportation system are to be in its scope, or not in its scope. Achieving the target. Lack of funds was one of the main reasons for the partial success of SBM in solid waste management. Now, since SBM 2.0 is committing to paying a significant portion of the project cost, the ULBs are likely to take up projects by matching the shortfall with their reserved funds, thereby hoping to achieve the global target of waste disposal sites being free from old waste by March 2023. Also, the transformation of waste disposal sites to processing sites is likely to produce 72 lakh tons of organic compost per annum from 4.8 crore tons of waste generated across all ULBs in the country. Organic compost recovered from the wet waste, which is 60% of the total waste, can be used to enrich the soil quality and can meet about 10 to 12% of the country's fertilizer demand. That will reduce the amount of chemical fertilizer imported and save about 2,600 crore rupees of subsidy paid by the government. The Puskara SV is with the Indian Institute for Human Settlements. Surveillance as governance, and from the archives, UN Assembly debates mediation bill not getting act together. While contains many clauses, the bill needs improvement in some crucial places. Okay, now go for this one. Health account number that requires closer scrutiny, the reduction of out-pocket expenditure at the NHNIA, the monumental mistake of fermented by impunity, the anguish over the Nagaland killings, and here a robust friendship. India and Russia love. Okay. At home, India were the cricket boards. Okay. One more thing about this is that beware of red caps. PM in UP in the run up to assembly election, Modi government attack Samajwadi Party in Gorakhpur. Okay, that's all for that matter. We'll go for running. Thank you.